Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today we're talking all about creative journaling. Let's go. All right, so I think when we start talking about creative journaling, a lot of us think back to those sweet little diaries that we had back in the day with the little lock and the little key and how we wrote down all of our thoughts and all of our feelings. And that is certainly a great jumping off point for creative journaling. I think there's so many directions you can take. And for me, creative journaling has been such an amazing outlet. It has let me kind of explore some different things, some different creative techniques, some different feelings and thoughts I was having, just a wide variety of ways that I kind of just dug deep and tried some different things. I've done creative journaling in a faith format. I've done mostly art journaling. I've done it completely with stickers. I've used journals to help me kind of process different things, and by connecting my creativity to that processing of thoughts and feelings has really helped me work through some different things in my life and to record some really special moments in my life. So I wanted to take you all through some of the different ways that I have used creative journals in the past, ways that I'm using creative journaling now, just to give you some ideas, and then we'll start to talk about processes and ways to dive into creative journaling. All right, let's go. One of the ways that I have really enjoyed using creative journaling in the past and truthfully in the present is setting intentions, kind of like vision building, vision board building, using a creative journal to set some intentions in my life. I have very much enjoyed using guided journals from the Happy Planner. I will link the Happy Planner down below so you can check out. They have new guided journals all the time. Some of them are topic based. I know they have a faith guided journal. They actually have a budget guided journal, which is probably a little bit different from creative journaling, but might help you. They have goal oriented ones. They have wellness oriented ones. Depending on which area you want to kind of dive into, I kind of prefer the more general ones. This one was from way back in the day, and it was called Stay Wild, Be Free, and it was very open. It had lots of just open boxes and spaces, and you can see how I took just a little time to kind of dive into some things that I wanted to focus on, some different things that I wanted to be intentional about in my life, and wrote myself some letters and worked through some classes. And I used it as a place to keep notes and wonderful permission slips from Shauna Klingerman, and ways that I just wanted to work on some creativity. And you can see it worked in a lot of different ways. I loved the format. Here's what it looks like blank. So you can see there were different gratitude lists, habit trackers, things to read, things to watch. These are all just different prompts. They had all these boxes, and really these different sections were just meant to kind of inspire you as you started creative journaling, as you started taking notes, and then a ton of dot grid bullet journal style pages later on in the back. And I loved this. This was a great kind of jumping off point for me. They also had this journal from the Happy Planner. This one was very popular when it came out. In fact, I think it's like sold out 2 times in the past. It may be available now. Hello Happy Yellow Guided Journal. This one was super fun because it was a little bit more structured than the first one I showed you. Each day kind of had where you were tracking your mood, how are you feeling, a place for gratitude, a place to write what inspired you, and it already had some doodles, some illustrations, some places where you could add a color or 2. You could add stickers if you wanted. I loved this journal insert for a long time because of the structure. Sometimes you need to find a little bit more structure. If the blank page syndrome is kind of getting to you and you're wanting to create a journal, but you don't know where to start, you don't know what you want to put down on the page, you don't know what you want to focus on, something with a little bit more structure is really, really helpful and something that I have enjoyed working through. You can tell I definitely dug into this one just a bit. And I loved it. Look at all the fun color. It didn't take a lot of like mental capacity to do the creative part of this. It wasn't super hard. It wasn't super time consuming, but it was something that I enjoyed sitting down and working through in the evenings. And so I thought that was a fun kind of addition of creative journaling. You can see I have plenty of blank space. This one was undated, which was fabulous because then you could come back to it whenever you wanted. It was awesome. This worked really well. Those were kind of the creative journals where I needed a little bit more structure from someone else. This is an example of creative journaling in a bullet journal. I actually have a completed one of these that I've misplaced, so I have to look through. But this one was one that I worked on for a while, and you can see this one was much looser. So I did have days of the week here. Some days took up two spaces, some days took up one space. I worked through it in kind of just using little bits and pieces. I didn't necessarily follow a format, which I dug. I just kind of went through it. There were some things that I did on a daily basis. I always include gratitude in my journaling. I like to always include brain dumps. This one was a good way to start the day because I did kind of put out my feelings onto the page and it felt good to get them out. I would do a brain dump of just things that were in my head that I knew I needed to kind of focus on through the day. And I just used all kinds of bits and pieces. There was maybe a loose structure, but nothing that like was so much I couldn't handle it, if that makes sense. So I was able to change it up for what I needed on that day. And I really enjoyed it. The way I was able to work through this is I just gathered some different supplies. I had different paper pieces that I used and grabbed for and just decorated as I went. I would say each one of these took me maybe about 15 minutes. That's how long it took me to kind of start my day in that way. And I absolutely loved it. This is definitely a format that I want to get back to at some point, and it worked really well for me. There was a lot of creativity in this. You can see lots of writing still, but this format, this kind of more open format within the bullet journal allowed me to get a little bit more creative, to experiment a little bit more. All right, so let's talk about how I am currently doing some creative journaling. So right now I have a couple going. This one is brand new, just getting started. This is a bullet journal style, and I had a video about setting this up. Like I said, it's brand new. I'm just getting into it. And this one is much, much simpler. I'm using this for something called Heart to Heart. I don't want to show all the journaling because it's going to be personal, but it's pretty simple. You can see I'm just doing a little bit of doodling around the edge, stamping the date and doing the writing, and that's it. That's what's happening. There will be some additional pages, some additional formats that come up in this, but this is where I'm starting on this journey. And this one is much more about writing, about recording some positive things, recording some gratitude, recording some affirmations, recording good things that are happening. And so it's really about the words in this one. And then this is my planner from the month of January, and I was using let me find it in here. I was using the stress management layout for my creative journal. Here we go, in the month of January. So here's what I had. Let me show you. This is what the blank layout looks like. So I had daily exercises and habits. This was kind of a way for me to track wellness and do a little bit of creative journaling. There wasn't a lot of space to write, but it was kind of just enough for my busy life, for being able to check in on the go. I didn't always have time to sit down and do a ton of creative journaling. So this was a good format for me. You can see that I would just kind of record what I did for my own wellness in this checklist section. And then down here, I just took notes on what happened during the day, feelings that I was having, like here, all the feels, big feeling day that was hard for me to cope with. Just kind of jotting it down, not necessarily writing it all out like I did in this one where I dug deep and kind of tried to reason some things through. This one was just about kind of noting those feelings and then just moving on from that. So you can see this one was fun. It was colorful. It was creative. It allowed me to decorate in my planner. I liked that it was a part of my actual planner, my Franken planning system. That worked really well for me. Something else that I did frequently was doing a little bit of creative journaling in my daily planning pages. So I use daily planning pages a lot of the days to kind of combine some different planners. I had fun playing with stickers, a little tiny taste of creativity at the beginning of the day. And then I had spaces for reflections, for daily quotes, for things I was grateful for. This one structured, but still gave me room to write the things I was looking for, to kind of dig in, to reflect on how I was feeling at the beginning of the day, really just to take note of it, not necessarily to like work through it in that moment, but to just take note. Hey, this is where I'm starting at for today. Did I get to it every single day? Nope, not every day, but that's okay. Creative journaling is there for you when you have time for it, and it's there for you. It's just waiting for you. It's waiting for you to pick it up. And it was pretty meaningful for me. And I like having those little moments of spots of journaling in my day to start my day. There are all kinds of prompts that you can cover in a creative journal. And I just wanted to talk about a few of them right now. First of all, you can cover gratitude. And that is something that I have always done in my creative journaling. No matter what the format, I generally start with gratitude. I think it's a good place to come from, to kind of center yourself in something that you are grateful for, or someone, or some place, or some feeling, just something that you can kind of anchor your gratitude in. And so that is generally where I start. I also have really enjoyed the process of a brain dump. So I know that's kind of a funny term, but really it's just kind of emptying the things that are in your head. You can either have this be a logistical brain dump, meaning you are the keeper of all the things, of all the activities and all the to-dos, and you know what's coming up. So kind of listing it all out just to get it out of your head so that you can start to empty and feel some different things. Or you might need kind of an emotional brain dump. Maybe you need to write down all of the feelings that are currently happening because they're overwhelming you. And they might be little feelings, they might be big feelings, they might be things that are relevant to you, or maybe things that are happening worldwide. Maybe you just need to brain dump all of that out onto the paper. So that has been something that has helped me. I've spent time with the schedule for the day. And really something that I have enjoyed very much is setting intentions. Setting an intention in my creative journal at the beginning of the day helps me to focus throughout the day. I've done plenty of sections on prayer, and I've done Bible verses. That has helped me a lot, especially as I'm focusing on different things that I'm wanting to work on and that are on my heart to kind of reflect on. That has been really important. I do like working with quotes and affirmations. When I was younger, I used to collect quotes in a little notebook that I had. It was actually a Powerpuff little notebook from when I was younger. Quotes and words always inspire me. So collecting those and putting them into my creative journal have been really important for me. I do like to record wins. And then I also, the flip side of that is lessons, wins and lessons. Wins, things that happened that day, things that happened the day before that were great, and then lessons I learned, things that I would want to improve upon. I've been doing what I call heart-to-heart statements. This was introduced to me by my amazing business coach, Libby, and those have been really effective in my life and helping me kind of rewire some thoughts that have created patterns in my head. So that's been really helpful in the past. There's other things you can do as well. You can just track fun things. Maybe you're tracking weather just for fun because you like to track the weather. You like to note what the weather is. Maybe it's a wellness issue because you know that your mood is directly related to what's happening outside. Wellness is another thing that you can track, whether that is physical emotional, or spiritual. You can track wellness and talk about wellness in your creative journal. Add spiritual here. There's all kinds of things. Of course, you have reflections, maybe on different topics, maybe on different words, maybe on different events that are happening, just taking the time to reflect. These are all the types of things that you can include in your creative journal, and the list can go on. If you have ideas for what else you would add on to this list, I would love it if you would share it in the comments below. I always love reading those comments. I always love responding to them. And I know that others really gain a lot from reading your comments as well. So this is the list we're going to kind of jump off from, but if you have others, I would love for you to add them in the comments below. All right, so we are taking the month of March over in my Patreon group, and we are digging into creative journaling. We have a good jumping off point here. We are going to work in March on setting up routines that will set you up for success in your creative journaling. We're going to talk about different ways to creative journal and give specific examples and setups that will help you kind of jump into that practice. That is what the whole focus is in Patreon in the month of March. It's all about creative journaling, and I'm there to equip and to give you some tools and information to start this practice and figure out how you might use it best in your life. It's going to look different for every single person because it's a very individualized thing. And I think spending some time to figure out what might work best for you is a way to kind of really make this something that's going to be effective in your life. So if you're wanting to find out more about creative journaling, if you are ready to kind of like set up a routine and dig into this process a little more, I'd encourage you to go check out my Patreon group. You can find the link for that in the description box below. There's so many great things that happen over on Patreon, and I think this month especially is going to be a wonderful month of community where we just share all the things that we're learning through this process. So if you're interested, check out the link for that in the description box below. I will also link all of the different things that I showed in this video, the different types of journals, the different types of planners that I've used in creative journaling in the past. If I forget something, just make sure to let me know and I'll see if I can find it for you online. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.